Harry Neil Walker is my grandfather. Yeah, he started the business in 1915 in Farron Street. If anyone knows Forbes at all, that's up near the railway station where the motor registry now stands. Now that's where my grandfather and grandmother and father lived.
Well, he used to sell bran and pollard, wheat, oats, barley, corn, and they used to have the bags open. You'd roll the bags down and say people had come in for a bushel of wheat for their chooks. So you'd dip out and weigh on the scales a bushel of wheat or a bushel of bran for the horse or a bushel of pollard or something, or that sort of thing. And it just, the shop was actually just one room of his house, which was only about 10 by 12, I suppose, at the very outside.
But that produce store actually supplemented what his main income would have been from the local wheat stacks, which he had relations of a company called Lindley Walker, and they were buyers of grain, and they would export it, grow here at Forbes, and of course they'd build the wheat stacks, and then it'd go by rail to Sydney.
1916 they had the biggest wheat stacks ever stacked in Forbes, 245,000 bags of wheat, I think it was. So that's how he started in 1915.
And he carried that through until my dad left school in Dardanelles. He left school in 1931, and he worked for his father. Then he went into the army in 1940, got out in 1945, and then I think he took over from his father in 1947. Then in 1953, about 200 or 300 yards down the road, there was a local local general store of Marr and Company.
And he started retailing and still did a little bit of bag wheat, but not very much, and it wouldn't have been enough to just on its own or anything like that.
Dad certainly had it tough in them 50s. You know, he was by himself. He'd just been away to the war for 5 years, and then he had a business to run. He had 5 kids on the ground, so he certainly had and it was I don't know how he survived really, but anyway, he obviously did.
He wasn't able to, as an independent, you needed to buy a pallet of it, say 10 drums. Well, pallets weren't even in there. You needed to buy about 10 drums to be competitive with all the other competitors in town. It was Groscos and Farmers and Graziers and Dalgettis and Winchcombe Carson and AML&F and so on. But they were all multinationals or multi-stores, so they were able to buy, we'll say, 10 or 20 drums of thibenzyl at a price, but if you buy one, it's a lot dearer, so he wasn't able to be competitive, and hence that's how they come to start Combined Rural Traders. John Adams at Yagoura and Ab Oliver at Cowra, Dara Walker at Forbes, Tom Ellis at Orange and John Buckfield at Bathurst.
That certainly opened up a terrible lot of doors for us. It gave us gave CRT direct accounts with the suppliers, and I think New Farm was one of the first companies to give CRT an account.
We used to sell anything from a toothpick to a heart transplant, nearly long as we could sell something. And I suppose we guaranteed the toothpick, but we couldn't guarantee the heart transplant. But so we had straw brooms in the roof and God, whatever we could sell. Of course, then we're able to sell with more room. You're able to sell pig feed and poultry food and horse pellets, anything like that. And then chaff mixers came in for horses. And then as we used to be able to then perhaps buy a pallet full because we had room to store it, and then we'd have not only those feeds, we had whatever we thought we could sell. We even tried the silent dog whistles there at one stage. Oh, geez. But whatever we could sell, I think we'd have a go at.
And Dad had sent me down to, David insisted that we had to get a forklift. We couldn't continue to unload the trucks and, well, we could, but I meant the truckies were not going to come to us if we didn't have a forklift. Anyway, and I didn't know one end of the forklift from the other anyway. And we got Connie Jones was our carrier at the time. He's Jones's Transport. So they went out and picked it up and brought it back a week or so later. And when I got back, Dad said, "How'd you get on?" And I said, "Oh yeah, Jones will pick it up and everything's right." And he said, "Well, what's it like?" And I said, "Well, it's yellow and it goes." So that was all we knew about it.
Plus it enabled you to move a lot more stuff a lot quicker and in and out. Like, I mean, you imagine getting, say, 800 or 2,009 posts in and unloading them by hand, and then, say, a semi-trailer load of ring lock and that, and unload that by hand, as opposed to unloading it by forklift. Ho, ho, ho. Gee, good fun. We just totally outgrown the place, so what are we going to do? So Michael and I had a yarn about what we'll do. We'd either stay here and just, say, deal in grain, which we were trading in grain at the time, or we look to somewhere else. So we looked to somewhere else.
We didn't know how big a risk it'd be. There wasn't another building on the other side of or another business on the other side of the railway line in town.
But then how do you understand about borrowing money when there's no one's ever borrowed any? Even Dad hadn't hardly borrowed any.
So David did a bit of a survey off a few farmers, off half a dozen farmers or so, and half of them said, yeah, good idea, and half of them said no. So we were flying by the seat of our pants for a while. The first rural drive-through rural merchandise on a couple of acre site, yeah, it was, yeah. It's amazing the amount of people that came, you know, or the amount of people in the business, you know, even from interstate and that came to have a look at the place. So it was more or less what Bunnings did to the hardware business.
Probably the proudest moment of my working career was when we opened that shop, and the smile on Dada and Michael and Kenny's faces. That was the most satisfying for me.
The first year we were there, we opened up in December 81, and then I think it was the biggest drought of the century in 82. It never rained. Well, I think we only had 8 inches of rain that year. There was no crops, and then it didn't rain until 1983. But in that 82, we doubled the turnover of our business. We had a fuel agency, an Ampol fuel agency. So Clem Denyer used to be a wheat stacks. He built the wheat stacks for Dad since I was born. And then Dad hired Ken Sanderson. And Ken Sanderson worked there from 1970 through till 37 years. So what's that, 2007? Yeah. So Ken was with us for 37 years. So certainly that's a wonderful effort. And Kenny actually started off driving the truck like Clem did, and then became our in-house agronomist, and then ended up as a manager of the shop. Some of the others that have been there for quite some time, David Sly's been with us 30 years. He has. Georgie Hancock did 20 years with us. Brian Dwyer did 20 years with us. John Rennick did 10 years. Mike Sutcliffe did 10 years. Jenny Drabs did 10 years. Colin Hodges has done 10 years with us. Karen Howe done 10 years with us. Jeffrey Suddy done 27 years with us. But they've all had their roles to play, and I think the culture of the AGnVET was, you know, work hard and play hard, and not play hard, but, you know, work hard and be responsible for your job and enjoy it and have some fun along the way.
Oh, very proud, obviously, and obviously very proud to be part of it and do our part, and you know, and to see the progress. And I like to go down and see what they're doing now. But I say to Michael, only tell me the good parts. I don't know the bad parts. I've seen enough of them, and there would still be bad parts. No, I'm very proud of what they're doing and what's happening.
AGnVET is seen in the community, I believe, exactly as what we are, which is a small family business. Obviously we're growing into a larger family business, but there's a high emphasis on the word family. There are only 4 partners and 4 families in the business as the owners, and we really want our customers to be part of the family. Obviously the same with our suppliers, and therefore those three groups of people are all together working for a common goal, and that is success.
Been lucky that I had David there with me. Lucky we had the grounding of Dad with work ethic. Yeah, we've had a terrible lot of opportunities, and had some marvellous people around me. That's what I've enjoyed.
I believe we have put in all the building blocks in place to be more than capable of competing at the highest level in 100 years' time.